Think that that impacts the room that we've made for a woman to be president?
Well, as we saw in this past election, sadly, we ain't ready. That's why I'm like, don't even look at me about running, because you all are lying. You're not ready for a woman. You are not. So don't waste my time. You know, we got a lot of growing up to do.
Obama, I mean, her statement, I was rather shocked by it.
Yeah.
She said, as we saw in the past election, sadly, we ain't ready. Okay, to me, this is logical fallacy 101. Just because we weren't ready or didn't like the candidates, Hillary and Kamala, doesn't mean we're not ready.
Michelle Obama's claim that America isn't ready for a woman president sounds emotional, but it collapses under basic logic. Losing elections doesn't automatically prove sexism. Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris didn't lose because they were women. They lost because voters rejected their messaging, priorities, or credibility. Elections are about trust, leadership, and direction. Reducing defeat to gender bias oversimplifies reality and avoids honest political self-reflection.
America continues to divide itself. Nowhere is it more pronounced than in gender. And until the Democrats come to grips with that, they won't have much success winning elections. Let's just put it out there. Women are the Democrats' base, and men who get hit in the head for a living are Trumps. They're the bro party, the party of car shows on the White House lawn and breaking shit and seeing what happens and busting balls and shooting stuff like beer. It's been that way for a long time. The mommy party and the daddy party, the party of hats and the party of truck.
Bill Maher labels Michelle Obama's argument logical fallacy 101, and he's right. A candidate losing does not mean voters reject an entire gender. America once claimed it wasn't ready for a black president, until Barack Obama won twice. The lesson is clear. Voters don't reject identities. They reject candidates. It has to be the right person, not the right label.
Obama, I mean, her statement, I was rather shocked by it.
Yeah.
She said, as we saw in the past election, sadly, we ain't ready. Okay, to me, this is logical fallacy 101. Just because we weren't ready or didn't like the candidates, Hillary and Kamala, doesn't mean we're not ready for a woman. Maybe. That's why I'm like, don't even look at me about running, because you are all lying. You're not ready for a woman. You are not, so don't waste my time. We've got a lot of growing up to do, and there are still, sadly, a lot of men who do not feel like they can be led by a woman. I think it's a bad attitude. I do. I mean, we said we weren't ready for a black president, and someone, I can't remember who, maybe she remembers, said maybe it just has to be.
Maher highlights a growing political problem, America's gender divide. Democrats have become overwhelmingly dependent on women voters, while Republicans increasingly attract men. This isn't progress, it's polarization. Politics shouldn't turn into mommy party versus daddy party. When parties stop trying to appeal to everyone, they shrink instead of grow.
To talk about Michelle Obama's hair.
It was shocking to me. Well, I didn't really have that choice as first lady.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Every day, every time I was up, as we called it, I was up for the public.
Yes.
And the days were long. So, as you mentioned, to save time.
Yes.
I know having a glam team, a trifecta, it feels like a luxury, but it was a time necessity.
Yes.
There's absolutely no way that I would be able to do my hair and makeup and have clothes ready that fit, because rare is the woman that can live off the rack.
Right? No one can live off the rack. I'm sorry, but you have to subject yourself to the burdens of a hair, makeup, and
Maher makes a blunt point. Voters don't cast ballots based on gender. They vote for leaders who understand their struggles and offer real solutions. When politicians blame losses on sexism, they dismiss voters as biased rather than listening to their concerns. That mindset guarantees future defeats because it replaces accountability with excuses.
And by the way, how rich have they become since they left office? I mean, this is the deal,
Hundreds
right?
of millions.
They served their country on a not insignificant sum of money. I think it's about $400,000 a year the president gets. And they live in unparalleled luxury the entire time they're in office. And when they leave, they make hundreds of millions, if not billions, of dollars. Has anyone got a tiny violin for me that I can start playing here?
Yes. And
ridiculous!
Not for nothing, but did you see that hideous outfit she was wearing? I'm sorry.
That's what having too much money does for you.
I've just never met somebody so ungrateful in all my life. And what did she start it off with? People said I was hateful. Because you are. She can't stand America. She definitely can't stand Barack. And I don't think she likes herself very much either. So she's been doing this nonstop tour. And I just think there's a strain. She's woke. He's woke. Yeah. There's a strain in the woke that leads you to be...
Michelle Obama often highlights the personal burdens of public life, makeup, and constant scrutiny. While those experiences may be real, critics argue they weaken her political message. If the goal is to normalize female leadership, constantly emphasizing personal discomfort sends mixed signals and shifts focus away from competence and strength.
We saw in this past election, sadly, we ain't ready. That's why I'm like, don't even look at me about running, because you all are lying. You're not ready for a woman. You are not. So don't waste my time. You know, we got a lot of growing up to do. And there's still, sadly, a lot of men who do not feel like they can be led by a woman, and we saw it. What was the question?
I just said, we don't need to ask it again. You answered it. Femininity, wifedom.
Yeah. I mean, I think we still have growth.
Maher and others point out the contradiction in elite victimhood. The Obamas left office wealthy and powerful, yet public complaints continue. For average Americans struggling with inflation and job insecurity, this comes off as tone-deaf. Voters don't relate to privileged figures framing themselves as victims.
Explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim. And we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all. Braids are for y'all so we can work harder and focus on the work. So why do we need an act, an act of law to tell white folks to get...
Megyn Kelly argues that Kamala Harris and Michelle Obama represent a political culture voters are tired of. Instead of focusing on crime, affordability, and stability, they emphasize symbolic and ideological battles. That doesn't inspire confidence. It alienates voters who want practical leadership, not lectures.
Someone must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talk about doubling down on what got you in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses. We know they are stupid, just don't say it.
Critics argue Michelle Obama focuses too heavily on race in her messaging. For years, progressives promoted a post-racial ideal. Now, woke politics centers race in nearly every discussion. Rather than uniting people, this approach deepens division and turns off voters who want shared national goals.
You wear Queers for Palestine t-shirts and masks 2 years after the pandemic ended. And you can't define woman, I mean person who menstruates. You're the teachers' union education party, and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person.
According to Maher, Kamala Harris didn't lose because of sexism. She lost because of her politics. Voters rejected ideological overreach, cultural extremism, and unclear priorities. The loss wasn't emotional or irrational. It was a deliberate rejection of a political agenda that felt disconnected from everyday life.
You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bullshit. The Democratic polling firm Blueprint told Democrats months ago that black voters, aka their supposedly liberal base, were more likely to find the president too liberal than too conservative. They also found that voters didn't just want Harris to distance herself from Biden, they wanted her to distance herself from what they believe the entire Democratic Party has become.
Polling shows even Democratic-based voters feel the party has drifted too far into ideology. Symbolism has replaced substance. Identity has replaced policy. Elections aren't won with labels. They are won with competence, clarity, and trust. Until Democrats accept that reality, they'll keep losing regardless of gender.